Now, I don't know if it was a microwave tower or if it was a cell phone tower, but there's no way they're going to put a cell phone tower out there because the short range they have. They have to have them, near each other. So that eliminates that. So either a transmission tower, microwave tower combination. But the dead giveaway, if it was done by the Army engineers or anything like that, that's a dead giveaway. Something that's going on with that property, that I'm surprised that they goofed up on something like that, because that they should have hid that the same way they were trying to hide the property.
Right. Yeah. And I have I found I got all the contracts. So it's definitely that radio tower is registered to the Army Corps of Engineers. There are microwave products on that, equipment on that. I'm definitely able to identify that, but there's other weird stuff on there too. I'll get with that, the contractor who's actually becoming a friend of mine. I consult with him because he's big into frequency stuff, and the frequencies tie in a lot of this work that I do. So he's a constant contact and becoming a friend. So I'll get with him with exactly what he installed over there for sure. But it just, we know for sure that it's an installment. And I have a friend who works in he was special ops. He's a police officer right now, but he was special ops, and he told me, he goes, "You have no idea how many secret underground bases that we have in America." He goes, "But we also have them worldwide. The United States has secret underground bases in countries we shouldn't be in, but we have them." He goes, "I've been in them." And he says, he told me, we have over 200 that people don't know about. People think it's less. He goes, but we have well over 200 in the United States. He says, I've been in like 119 of them, I think he told me. And he said, and some of them look like abandoned houses that are boarded up, but you walk around the back, there's like some kind of way to get in. He goes, there's nothing going on inside the building. It's all underground. He goes, but you just think it's a dilapidated, boarded up home. He goes, but the things that are happening underneath, you would never know.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that, because a while back I was talking to a trucker that was delivering to one of the huge underground bases. And he actually quit the job. He told his boss, I can't handle this anymore, because he said the last load he brought in, they made him back in, and then they put armed guards around the cab of the truck while they were unloading it. And they told him to keep his hands on the steering wheel, keep his eyes straight forward. If he would turn his head or took his hands off the steering wheel, he said they would kill him. They would shoot him. And what were they unloading? What was he carrying? He had no idea. And now some of these bases, I hate to say it, are probably doomsday bases, places where politicians and high ups will go in case something happens, world changes, a war, or being invaded by aliens, who knows, where they can go to be secure, supposedly. But then I think some of these bases, because again, Mary Joyce, who runs a UFO reporting center out of North Carolina, out of Cashiers, she claims there's a base up there that is a huge complex, and that with the military, and she swears from information she got from some people that have top clearance. I mean, the top clearance you can get, that aliens are involved in that base, working on military projects. So who knows what some of these areas are at? I mean, it's scary. Because like you're saying, you talk of certain things, all of a sudden you see black helicopters. A good friend of mine who was going to be coming on my network with a talk show, he was with the DOD. He could tell you things that would scare the what out of you. Because, again, what you say to me, we're being recorded. Okay? And what happens is when you get on that list, then whoever you talk to is now added on that list. And whoever he talks to, so the list keeps getting bigger and bigger. So, I mean, it's scary out there. And they're trying to keep us, from not knowing. Back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I would say maybe they were missile silos. But they pretty much have done away with a lot of the silos, like the Minuteman and stuff like that. And things like that, like you're talking about putting a radio tower up, again, armed guards with machine guns, military, something is major going on. I'm surprised you guys didn't end up in the jail or even worse.
And and now that here's what's weird. Now, like, I don't know, maybe this is a coincidence, but it just dawned on me. Since I moved into this home, now this house has nothing to do with it. I've always known that, but we bought this house. My father fell ill. He was living down in Florida. I was down in Florida. They called me, said, "Get down here. Your father's not going to make it through the night." So I flew down as fast as I could. He pulled through, and I called my wife when I was down in the hospital. I said, "I think he's gonna pull through. We need a house with a downstairs bedroom so we can move him up with us." So she was house shopping while I was there. So we bought this house. So we've only been here for like 2.5 years now or so. But since we've been here, all kinds of crazy stuff with the ET and stuff like that has been happening here. Like crazy stuff here, like crazy. We haven't even talked about all that stuff yet. But what the difference with that is it's when I started getting involved with certain cases too and talking about it publicly when it comes to some of this stuff. So that might have a lot to do with it as well. I mean, that the fact that I've been exposing some of this at the same time that I've been living here. So the work I'm doing outside, yeah, I'm just drawing it to me. It's just coincidence. It has nothing to do with where I live now. So that just dawned on me right now. So, excuse me. So,
yeah, has any of your close friends that they go out and do these UFO shows with you? Have they encountered where they feel like they're being followed, or their messages, their text messages are being read, or are they feel like they're being spied upon?
Yeah, definitely. Like my friend Paulino, we've been working together since, like I said, 98, and the case where we met is actually a good story, but we're talking about something different now, so I'll save that for the moment. But he's had white vans show up at his house and say, "Hey, we're from the light company. We need to check this. We need to come in to check this." And well, we didn't call you. We have no problem. Like, oh yeah, but and then all right, hold on. So he shuts the door. He'll go to call the light company or the gas company or whoever it was. I can't remember. And they're like, "No, we don't have anybody over there." He goes to the door and they're gone. So that's happened to him several times. And let's see, I am friends with somebody up your way too that had something like that happen to him. But
it sounds like they want to bug your house. That's what they want to do, is bug it.
Yeah, like what's funny is, like, since we've been here, and I think it's just coincidence, because since I moved here, I had taken a break because my father was sick, and so when my father, I knew he was going to be okay, I jumped back into this to try to like take my mind off all the stresses that I had to deal with when he was sick, and I was going through all that. So I kind of plunged back into my work really hardcore. So I had all this stuff in front of me, all these cases and all this deep stuff. Like, I'm talking some pretty top secret type of stuff I was working on and still am, that I delved into. And I think that kind of like, once we moved into this house, kind of brought up a lot of weird attention towards me. And so we actually, the first spring, we bought the house towards the later part of one summer, but then the following springtime, we went on vacation. Now, up until, I was hearing, before we went on that vacation, so many times that night, this is how it started, was I would hear the head of our bed was on the side of our house. So on the right side of our house is that it's the exterior wall is where my head lies at night. So I would hear what sounded like something crawling up the side of my house, which is impossible without making marks because it's vinyl siding. But it literally sounded like something climbing up the side of my house, and then I would hear running across my roof. you know. And then I was also experiencing the paralysis and the feeling they're here again, and I would black out, and things were happening to me like that. So then April came and we went on vacation. I think we went on a cruise and went to Florida or something. I had my oldest daughter house sit for us, and her husband, and my grandchildren come here, and they slept in my bedroom. And so I never told her that story. I never told anybody that story, not even my wife at that point. And we came back, and so we're spending time and catching up. So how'd everything go? Because my dad was living here, so I wanted to know how the care that she was giving him went and how he was for her. And she goes, Dad, I have to tell you, she goes, me and Eric were laying in bed one night, and we heard something climb up the side of the house and run across the roof. And I'm like, okay, well, that's confirmation, because I've been hearing it too, you know. But then all kinds of stuff started happening, and I started getting the things happening to me at night. I woke up one night, and I'm like, this around the time I sent you the photo of that thing above my house, that UFO that was spotted in the surrounding towns by over 30, like up to 30 people, including one cop, one police officer. But I'll talk about that after. But so one night I woke up and I'm like, it's here. They're here again, and that's what always happens to me when this happens. Like, even if I don't fall asleep first, I just know they're here again. They're here again. I go into this. It's anxiety. It's not fear, because I know in these paranormal situations you cannot introduce fear because you empower so many other things. You might attract other things. So, but it's extreme anxiety. I don't have control. They're here again. They're here again. Next thing I know, I feel something stab me in either side of my rib cage on my back. My right side, not so much, as my left side was really bad. It was painful, and I black out. I pass back out. I wake up the next morning, and I go into the bathroom, and I look, and I have a bruise the size of a silver dollar with a puncture wound on the back part of my rib cage, and I do have that photo. The phone that I had fried, but I was able to save that photo before. And I had forgotten about that because, like I said, something happens. Like, I don't know what they do, but they make you forget certain things. And I remembered about that later on, and I checked back, and I saw that photo on my phone that I had forgotten about months later, you know. But around that same period of time, I had gone to bed one night. I was downstairs. My wife went to bed. She was already sleeping. And I go upstairs. I lay down in bed. I'm not even tired, but, I know I need to go to bed because I got to work the next day. So I lay down. I'm on my right side. I'm facing my wife. She's on her right side. And I'm just laying there thinking about how I have to settle down and go to sleep. And all of a sudden, they're here again. And I feel, and all of a sudden, boom, paralysis. I can't move. I'm like, crap. And I'm thinking, the first thought that, I know I can't move, but the first thought that entered my mind was, grab your 9mm. I had my 9mm behind me on the floor. I'm facing, towards my wife on the other side of the bed. So behind me is the wall and the window, and on the floor in my hiking boot was my 9mm. Now my 9mm was fully loaded clip inside the gun, fully loaded clip inside a holster, so a second clip, and a pretty good sized holster. A lot of weight there. Shoved inside my hiking boot, so tight that if I picked up the gun, the boot's going to come with it. So as soon as I think, grab your gun, even though I can't, the thought enters my mind. We hear, dud, 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 dud. My wife jumps out of bed out of a sound sleep, and she's like, what the expletive was that? And she's freaking out, and I'm like, I think I know, but this paralysis broke immediately. As soon as that happened, boom, no paralysis. And usually it fades off gradually, but this time, boom, gone. And I got up, and clear across the room, and we have a big bedroom, clear across the room was my 9mm. There's no way that would have happened. The boot was not disturbed at all. It was not tipped over. It was exactly where it was, and the gun was clear across.